All right, so let's say we had some loser out there. Okay, so let's say we had some. Let's be more specific. Let's say a threat actor of some sort, and they wanted to access your computer. Okay, and let's say you're in some office setting, and you decided to just leave your computer unlocked, right? And then you basically do something really dumb, and because of that, someone in the area saw that and decided to take advantage. So they came over and they basically plugged in their unholy USB stick into your computer. And now that they have their malicious file on your computer, they hide it in some directory. Okay, so let's say they didn't just put it there, and so that next time you come back, you can actually find it. Let's say they're a bit more clever and they decided to hide it in some directory. Okay, so how would they do this? Well, I'm going to show you how they can actually hide a file if they had physical access. Again, assuming that um, this person's malicious file bypassed the your your antivirus. So let's say this is the malicious file over here. And it's in a folder called new folder. In order to actually hide it, all the adversary would have to do is click it, go down to show more options, properties, hit hidden, apply, and then there we go. So it's this folder is empty, and if it still showed, I just turn off hidden items. So the folder doesn't actually show any hidden items, and therefore, if the attacker does this, then they've hidden the file from your view. But again, we aren't your regular user. If you know what you're doing, and you figure out the folder that the person might have put the file inside of, all you'd have to do is the following to reveal the actual file. You go here, then you go to view, you press show, and then you press hidden items, and boom, there we go. You recover this lame file, and obviously we're smart. We're not gonna open this. We're just gonna click this again, and just gonna press delete, and we've gotten rid of it. And then you can go to your trash box and then wipe it out. However, let's say this strategy is assuming that the person actually had access to your physical computer. Let's say they don't, and they basically decide to hide their malicious file inside of a file that you can download off the internet, for example. All right. So now we're gonna get into the topic of alternate data streams. So what that basically is that if you have a file, um, generally speaking, that file the content inside of that file. Let's say it's a regular text file. If it's a regular text file, then the stuff you type in that text file would be the main data stream. And in specific file systems of the Windows operating system, like if we're talking about NTFS in the Windows operating system, not Windows operating system, with the file system of the Windows operating system, what you can actually do is that you can create alternate data streams. So you can create multiple data streams for a file. All right. So if I just demonstrate this, I can let's just go back one directory. If you want to figure out how you can run basic Linux commands, you can go back to my other videos. Over here, we're in Windows PowerShell, so even though we're not on a Linux operating system, we can actually run a lot of the Linux commands in PowerShell. So now we're in the Windows operating. Now we're in the Windows directory. Let's just create a file. Okay, so in order to create a file, we can just say echo. Let's just say this is a file, and we're gonna put all of that into a file called file.txt. Okay, so if we do that, and then we press dir, or we can just say ls using Linux commands because we're in PowerShell. Again, there's a lot of stuff here. Maybe I shouldn't have created it here. I'm gonna clear this. I'm gonna press. Let's just remove that. So I'm going to remove file.txt. Then we're gonna go into system. Actually, let's just go back one directory. Now we're in the root. All right, so let's now create our file again. So in order to do that, we do the same thing. We say echo, And then we say this is a file. We put some random data in our file. We just create a random one right now. So we say this is a file. And I'm gonna put that into a file called file.txt. Then we're gonna say type. Type again. You don't have to use type. That's just a. If you're using command prompt, you'd have to say typed in order to read the contents of a file. But we're just gonna use cat because we're using PowerShell and allowed Linux commands. So we'll say cat file.txt, and we have this is a file. Okay, so now we created this file. It has some content in there. Now what we're gonna do is we're going to create an alternative data stream to this file. Okay, so this is the main data stream. The main data stream of this file contains the content. This is a file, so it has this line. This is the main data stream. All right, to create an alternative data stream for the file.txt file we created before, we can do echo, and here we're going to specify the content that's going to be inside of the alternative data stream we're creating for the file.txt file. Let's just be direct. It's going to be this is the content inside of the alternative data stream. We're going to pipe that into set content. Then we're going to specify the relative path to the file that we're creating the alternative data stream for. So it's going to be file.txt, and then dash stream option, and we're going to specify the name of the alternative data stream, the one that we're creating right now. So we're going to call it alt. Alright, so a quick overview of this command. So what we're basically doing is we're creating an alternative data stream for this file called file.txt, and we're naming it alt, and it's going to have the content, this string of content, which says this is the content inside of the alternative data stream. So that's basically what this command is doing. If you press enter, now we created this alternative data stream called alt for file.txt, and it has this content in there. However, this is the thing with alternative data streams, is that if I were to just try to cat the file.txt file, it would only give me the content inside of the main data stream. So this is a file. We didn't actually get the contents that we put in the alternative data stream. Okay, and just to prove this concept, just to add more information, if I press ls, it just shows file.txt, right? We don't see this other we don't see the alternative data stream, okay? Even though it's actually within this file.txt file. So you can see where this could go, where a threat actor could actually take advantage of this to actually embed something like an application or a malicious script and get it to execute. And the user wouldn't even know that there's an extra file in there, right? So before we get to the next step, if you want to see if you were trying to read the content inside of the alternative data stream, one way you could do it is basically by saying cat and then type in the relative path to the file. So file.txt colon, and then now what we're gonna do is we're gonna specify the name of the alternative data stream. So we're gonna say alt. Now we can actually read the content. But this assumed that we already knew the name of the alternative data stream we were reading. But if you wanted to see all the alternative data streams for every piece of content inside of a directory, all you'd have to do is run the following command. So you'd say, actually, instead of doing all, let's just do it for this specific file instead. So if you want to find all the alternative data streams for this specific file, because again, let's just say this is the one you downloaded from the internet and this is the one you suspect. In order to do that, all you'd have to do is run this command over here. So what we would say is get item. Then we say file.txt. Okay. So this is gonna get the file for us, and then we're gonna say stream asterisk. So what this is basically gonna do is it's gonna get this file. Okay, so this get items and get this file, and then it's gonna get us the stream with this asterisk. What this asterisk basically says is that give me all streams. So give me every single stream for this file.txt file. If I press enter, as you can see, we have the main one which is called data. That's what it's always called, and that's what has the this is a file. Remember what we typed in the beginning. So if I just go up, if you still have it, yeah. So this is a file. This line of this string of text is stored inside of the data, the data stream of file.txt. So this is the main stream, right? And it also finds another stream, the alt one, and this is the stream that has this line of context. So that's one way that you could find all the alternative data streams of a file. And again, this is specific to the NTFS file system, which is the file system of computers running the Windows OS, right? So now let's take this to another level. Let's try and if you can just put that, what's stopping us from creating an application and then putting it as an alternative data stream for the file.txt file? Because this is what a malicious actor would do, right? So let's just create a quick script and continue from here. So over here, I have a very basic C program over here. Again, you know, if you're not familiar with C programming, I might make a video on it. Let me know in the comments if you want if you want a whole video, which is going to be a basic walkthrough of C programming, but that's not the focus of this video. If you want to, let me know in the comment section. So what this line is going to do is it's going to include a library called the standard IO library, which is basically gonna have a bunch of input-output functions that we could use. This line over here again is going to include the Windows.h library, which comes with a bunch of Windows APIs that we could use, and this main command, this main function over here is going to allow us it's the part that's actually going to execute inside of the C program, and what's going to run is this message box function, which is basically going to create a pop-up that says you've been hacked, right? So again, this is not real, it's just for educational purposes. So that's basically what it's going to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to compile this C program, we're going to get the executable, and then we're going to create an alternative data stream for the file.txt file, which is going to be the executable version of this C program, and then we're going to get it to execute. So that's basically what we're going to do. So let's go back to our PowerShell shell. All right, we're back. So basically, we want to compile the C program, which is very easy to do. You need the GCC, which is basically the main, most popular C compiler. So we're going to say GCC -o, and then we're going to call the new file the executable version of the C program. I'm going to call it hacked. And now we need to specify the actual source file, which is hsource.c. Okay, we're going to compile it. Wait for a couple of seconds. Now that it's compiled, what we're going to do is that we're going to add it to, we're going to create a new, we're going to create a new alternative data stream. And this one's going to contain our application, right? Again, if I press dir, we don't need to do that, we can just say ls. We have this exe file that's created. It's called hack.exe, which is just a binary representation or the executable representation of this source file over here, right? The original source file that we had. So if we continue, we're gonna say type hack.exe, because I'm just gonna take the file, which is a binary file. If you want to see how it looks like, you press enter. As you can see, it's very messy, right? So let's just clear the screen. We're first going to say type hacked.exe, and then once we do that, we're going to pipe that into file.txt, and we're going to name the alternative data stream for the application as what do we call this? Doesn't really matter. Actually, I don't. I want to make it. Maybe let's make it funny. Let's just say this one. Okay, this one is bad. Okay, let's just call it that. And what's the issue here? It's saying cannot find drive. My drive with the name file.txt. So it thinks it's the drive. So let's fix that. All right. So it doesn't work on PowerShell. So let's just go into the CMD. And inside of the CMD, we're gonna run the same command. So I'm gonna say type hacked.exe. I'm gonna put that into file.txt. This one is bad. Right, so let's press enter, and we've created it. If you want to see the streams for the file now, we should have one more alternative data stream for the file.txt file. If you want to look at all of them, and now we're in CMD. So in order to look at all the data alternative data streams for the files, we're gonna say dir space /r. This is gonna give us the alternative data streams for everything in this current directory. So that's the difference between what we did now and what we did before. Press enter. As you can see, for the file.txt file, we have the main one, we have the alt, that one we created before, and then we have this one is bad. So we have three now. We have the original one, which is the data, which is this says. Then we have the alt, which has the text we wrote before, and we have this new one, which is the actual application, which is why it's so big here, right? So now that we have that, we want to actually execute this. So if you wanted to execute this, so we're in CMDs and CLS. So if we wanted to actually execute this, we can use a command called WMIC. With WMIC process call create. Okay, and then we have to pass in the path to that alternative data stream we created for the file.txt file. So we're going to say c/, and we're already here, so all we have to say is file.txt, and then this one is bad. If you press enter, boom. Again, this is because the while loop we created before, we don't really need it. You can just close that. But let's just run it again just to show you. Yep, so as you can see over here, just forget this, other windows because the while loop I created. As you can see, we have this pop-up that says important on the top, and then it says you've been hacked, right? So if you press OK, it's done. So as you can see, we can use not we, obviously we're good people, but a threat actor can basically create an alternative data stream for a file. Make sure, again, once you create an alternative data stream, you can't actually see it. If you say dir or ls, you try to look at the files inside of the current directory, you won't actually be able to see the alternative data streams. You just see the name of the file, and then they can embed an application inside of it and then get it to execute. So now you might be asking yourself, we ran the wmic command over here, but the threat actor does not have access to our physical computer. But if you really think about it, all they'd have to do is type this command inside of some type of script, send that over to you, and by the time you execute it, it's going to execute the alternative data stream on the file you assumed was completely innocent, right? So this is actually quite dangerous. So at least you learned something in this video. You guys are gonna be more careful next time. And now you know how alternative data streams work. You know how to look at alternative data streams using a shell like PowerShell over here. And now you'll be more familiar with how to protect yourself against attacks of this type. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it's very complicated. If you have any questions, you can leave a comment. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.